What if you had a staff member who was really good at doing a specific type of work or a project, but complained about doing it? Wouldn't that confuse you? It used to confuse me too. How can you hate doing something that you're actually really good at? Well, it makes complete sense when you discover the concept of learned behaviors. In my last video, I walked you through the 3 main reasons that I preferred the CAP strengths profile to the others on the market. As I mentioned, one of those reasons was this quadrant, the quadrant in the lower left-hand side called learned behaviors. Learned behaviors are things that you actually do well, but they consistently de-energize you, so they can't possibly be a strength. If you're like I was, you probably think it perfectly reasonable to delegate work to your team based on what they're good at. But what happens if these activities are actually learned behaviors instead of strengths? Would your staff member become disengaged or leave? It actually happens all the time, unless you understand this distinction. Case in point, several years ago, I was running a workshop for about 30 managers for an engineering company, and one of my participants became white as a sheet. And I said, Matt, there's obviously a story here. What's going on? He said, I think I've got a team member who's working in his learned behaviors. He said he's in the Western Sydney office. His name is Kevin, and he's been joking about quitting because he hates the type of work that he's doing. But he's so good at it. I kept saying, what are you on about? I said, well, potentially, he is working in his learned behaviors. What are you going to do about it? And Matt said, well, I'm going to go out and talk to him tomorrow and see if I'm right. And he did. He sat down and he talked to Kevin, and he found out that Kevin was working in his learned behaviors quadrant, and that not only was he frustrated, he was actively looking for another role. Well, over a period of several months, Matt was able to take that project work off of Kevin, freed Kevin up, and Kevin ended up staying 3 more years until he retired. The learned behaviors quadrant is powerful stuff once you understand it, and once you understand that some of your team may be working in that quadrant instead of their strengths. No, you're never going to have a job where you don't have to do things that are in your learned behaviors or your weaknesses quadrant, but spending time with them, moving as much out of those quadrants as you can, will not only increase their motivation, it'll increase their performance as well. Give it a try.